Do you think that Harry ever looks back and think that he's got it wrong?
I like to think so.
Yeah.
I think in the middle of the night sometimes he must wake up in a cold sweat and think, my God, what have I done? Perhaps he doesn't, perhaps he genuinely believes he's still on the right path, but I think in certain moments he must regret, being estranged from his own family. He tells us he's happy in California, and he tells us the marriages sound great. I hope it is for them, but there's no reason why he had to go to the extremes that he did, in my opinion. And I think sometimes in the middle of the night, I think, yes, he probably would regret it.
Yeah, I think he does, but I just don't think he doesn't care. I think he regrets it, but he doesn't care enough to do anything about it, because he just thinks, what's the point? And I don't think if he said to Meghan, let's try and make things right and get back into the fold, I mean, she doesn't make any real efforts to kind of get back in the good graces of her family. Maybe it's not worth it.
She's not trying to help him to get back in with his family,
exactly,
and he's not helping her to get back in with her family.
Exactly,
I mean,
so
if I was Harry, who's never met Thomas Markle, you'd think he'd sort of say to, let's try and patch this up.
I mean, that is an embarrassment. That is shocking.
They've never met, and he's never met the grandchildren. I just think it's
scandalous.
As that clip fades out, you feel the air change. Because the truth they were dancing around in that studio is the truth the whole world has been whispering. And honestly, it's about time we stopped pretending. You look at Harry's life now. The sunshine smiles, the California glow, the PR-polished, I'm happier than ever routine. And you can't help but wonder if the man ever stops and thinks, wait, did I actually win anything here? Because you can only run so far from your past before it taps you on the shoulder and asks how the new life is working out. And let's be real, Midnight is honest. Midnight doesn't care about your Netflix deals or your podcast ambitions or how many times you say healing. Midnight tells you the truth in brutal, unfiltered HD. And I'd bet good money that somewhere in those quiet hours, the regret creeps in like a draft under a door. Not loud, not dramatic, just a cool reminder that something precious was left behind. But here's the twist. Regret doesn't automatically come with responsibility. Some people regret things deeply, but not deeply enough to fix them. And that's exactly the vibe around Harry now. A man who feels the sting, but refuses the solution. Because fixing things, that would mean going back. Facing the people you scorched, admitting you acted on impulse, emotion, and maybe even someone else's script. And Harry, he's too far down the Malibu highway to make a U-turn without the world noticing. Now let's talk about Meghan, because the patterns are loud. When someone won't mend the bridges in their own life, it's no surprise they won't encourage anyone else to mend theirs either. It's giving burn the village and go shopping. It's giving move forward and never look back. It's giving why bother? And the sad part is, Harry followed that energy like it was gospel. You can almost see him thinking, if she's not fixing her family issues, why should I fix mine? As if unity is optional. As if grandparents are interchangeable. As if children don't grow up and eventually start asking very uncomfortable questions. But the part that still stuns me every time is how casually the door has been shut on people who should have at least been given a moment, a meeting, a handshake, a chance. And instead, nothing. I mean, at this point, you'd think these families lived on different planets instead of different continents. What we're looking at isn't just broken relationships. It's intentional distance. A distance so wide, you could park a whole PR machine between it and still have room for another Netflix special. But here's the thing about time. It doesn't wait. And the more years that pass, the harder it is to rewind. The harder it is to face the consequences. The harder it is to admit you acted in a moment of emotion and built a whole life around that moment. And that's exactly where Harry seems to be stuck now. Regret, yes. Action, absolutely not. It's like watching someone stare at a broken door but refuse to pick up the hammer sitting right next to them. And while he stays frozen, everything else keeps moving. Family milestones, royal duties, public sentiment. The world has shifted without him, and he's standing in the same spot, hoping no one notices the storm he started. But oh, we've noticed. And here's the kicker. The people around him, they're not helping either. When both halves of a couple are experts at cutting ties instead of mending them, reconciliation becomes a distant fantasy. The kind you talk about, but never attempt. Like learning French or going to the gym in January. And the saddest piece of all this? The children. Kids growing up with entire branches of their family tree erased like they never existed. History has a funny way of repeating itself when no one tells the full story. So, as we sit here watching this saga unfold, watching Harry drift further from the people who raised him and closer to the people who rewrote him, you can't help but wonder, at what point does the regret become too loud to ignore? At what point does he finally stop running long enough to realize the race was against himself all along? Maybe that day will come. Or maybe he'll keep pretending the California light is bright enough to hide every shadow. But shadows don't disappear. They wait. And trust me, this story is far from done. If you're watching this on the Unroyals, I'm Mona. And as always, expect the truth, expect the tea, and expect the commentary the mainstream tiptoes around. Make sure you hit subscribe because this saga, it's just warming up.